3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Quality Antics podcast. On today's episode we sit down with Sam Dickson from the New Zealand Rugby Sevens team. He is an absolute beast of an athlete and he's been playing at the highest level for quite a few years now. And we bumped shoulders playing Aussie rules years and years ago, and I realised how talented this boy is, and then he shifted over to the Sevens and he has just been dominating, so it was good to catch up with him for a quick moment. And also halfway through the episode a random construction site pretty much popped up right outside the studio, so there's a bit of random extra noise. Hang in there, it's bearable. Let's rip into the episode. Sammy Dickson, welcome to the Quality Antics podcast, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, good, Rizzo. Good to be here, mate. Watched a lot of your movies.
Oh, lad. For those people who have been living under a rock, maybe don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been up to lately.
I'm a full-time rugby sevens player from out at West Melbourne. Went to St Thomas's and just got back from the Commonwealth Games. We were lucky enough to win gold there, so just home for a few days, catching up with the whānau and sort of giving back to my school and club and other schools around and showing them what I've been up to.
Nice, mate. So how long have you been in the circuit? How long have you been in that kind of professional athlete realm?
So I started become a professional sevens player back in 2012, so that's quite a while ago now, and just come out of club footy down here playing for Westie, and I got given a full contract and then just never looked back really. The money kept on flowing, the contractors kept on coming, so just kept on saying let's go.
Yeah, nice. So you transitioned from the 15s game across. How was that, mate?
Yeah, it was good. Lucky enough I played a bit of AFL, as you know.
Yeah.
A few years just before that, so all those skills sort of moulded me into a pretty decent sevens player, and I was just lucky enough to get a good break, and then with my work ethic and all that, it just sort of kept me going.
So tell us the story really quickly, because people will be interested. Like, I've heard it before, but how were you spotted? Or like, how the hell did someone discover you and say, hey, we want you for sevens? Like, how did it happen?
It's a bit of a weird one. It's Canterbury's South Island's not huge on their sevens, so it was a weird way it came about. But I was just playing club rugby for Westie, and then Joe Moody, an All Black prop, was playing for Lincoln, and the old Canterbury coach was watching him coming back from injury, and I happened to be playing against him, and then it sort of just all went from there. I got dragged into called into the Canterbury ITM Widers, and then I'm a flanker, so Canterbury's in this flanker stock, they're pretty stacked full of All Blacks and Crusaders, so I was pretty young and pretty fresh, so I wasn't going to really get a look in. So I decided to chuck me into a sevens camp, a Gordon Titch's sevens camp, and from then on, just never looked back.
Yeah. Sweet. So a few tough days, I guess, a few big sessions. What was it like in some of those camps? Is it as full on as people say?
Yeah, it is. Especially back in the day when there wasn't, back in 2012, there wasn't that much sports science around it. It was just more, basically the more hard yards you did, the better you'd be. And back then, that was sort of just when it became fully professional, when it became an Olympic sport, that we sort of won a lot of our games on fitness, because we're so fit. But now a lot of other countries have chucked millions of dollars into their sevens programs and got other athletes from different sports, like the Americans got their Olympic sprinters and that.
Yeah, true.
It's just made it way harder. So, and also now every country's centralised, so they all live out of one city and train at one base. And our All Black Sevens team, that just happened in October last year, so we're one of the last teams to do it.
Wow.
And now we're finally, I guess, getting a bit of the fruits from that. As we just won the Com Games gold.
Congrats, mate.
Yeah, cheers. Still got a long way to go as a team, and got the World Cup in a few months in San Francisco.
Yep. Awesome. So you say that it's kind of progressed from 2012, and instead of just working your ass off every day at training, was it nutrition? Was it recovery? Did those kind of realms, did they change a lot in those years, or has it been pretty consistent?
No, it's changed quite a bit. I mean, we've got our own trainer, we've got our own physio, got our own nutritionist, got our own sports psychologist, got obviously a couple of coaches, assistant coach, skills coach. So yeah, we put a lot of emphasis on stuff off the field as well, especially our team culture, which we've put a lot of work into it. And just getting like enjoying it more off the field as well, and not just worrying about rugby all the time, trying to build young, because there's a lot of young boys coming through our team, and not just building them as good rugby players but as good men as well.
Yeah. Oh, good message, mate. And so you've travelled the world with your job. How has that been? What are some of the countries that you were like, geez, I could live here, or you really enjoyed the scene?
Like it's made me appreciate what we have here in New Zealand. I think a lot of Kiwis go travelling around the world before they actually really know their own country and travel their own country and see all the neat places we have. So it has made me appreciate what we have here. But I love Canada. The Canadians quite similar to Kiwis.
Yeah, I hear that.
Vancouver's a beautiful place. It reminds you of the South Island quite a bit. It's always a hard one just to say a few places. Away from rugby, I went to Koh Phi Phi in Thailand for one New Year's a few years ago, and that's a pretty crazy
Good
place.
fun.
So me for partying, and obviously the sights there aren't too bad either.
Yeah, sorry, it's a bit noisy here, so we culled it for a second. So you were talking about some of the places in the world that you've travelled to. Good to hear that New Zealand's blinking on the list of the places that you love the most. You have shifted recently. You're a Christchurch lad, but you've shifted. Like you say, you've kind of gone together as a team. How's that been?
Yeah, it's been a good change. I think, obviously I'm born and raised here in Canterbury, and spent all my time here, and I always used to have to fly up to Tauranga for Mount Maunganui for camps. So, but now we've got a new coach and a new regime, and I guess they're trying to make it. It's been fully professional for years now, but make it fully professional as a group. And so all us boys have moved from all over the country to Mount Maunganui, where we train there. And it's just basically I can get now coached 7 days a week. We've got unreal facilities up there, and lucky enough to have a sick house on the beach right in Papamoa. So that's pretty cool.
Do you live with some of the boys on the team or no?
Yeah, so I live with one other guy, Sione Molia, an Auckland boy, so that's pretty cool. But it's nice to get your own space, because when we travel, there's only 12 of us, and we are living out of each other's pockets, and also playing together, and it's quite an emotional roller coaster most of the time. So it's good to get away from them and have your own time. So I don't mind. There's just two of us in a pretty big house, so it's nice to have our own space.
Yeah. Have you got any good stories? I know you will, but ones that you might be able to release on the podcast here. Who are the players that you've played with over the years? You've played with a lot of the legends. Yeah. Who are some of those people that you're like, damn, I loved it whenever this person's on the field? Or were there any funny moments out there that you're like, geez, that was a real memorable moment?
Oh, geez, that's
putting the pressure on.
One. There's a lot of R18 stories which I would love to share, but I don't know if the boys would like that. But I wish you'd asked me this earlier, then I could have thought about this.
No, mate. Well, let's just colour. You can keep thinking. You've scored quite a few tries, actually. Is there one of the tries you have scored that you've been like, damn, that felt good?
That's another tough question. But I guess when I scored my 50th.
Ooh.
It was pretty cool. It was in Singapore. Unfortunately, I didn't score at the Olympic Games.
Ooh.
So
that's all good.
That hurt. But
is there a bit of pressure and a bit of banter between the boys when that sort of thing happens? So like, oh, Dicko, you haven't scored. Really?
Yes and no. Like us forwards, we don't really score that many tries. But you always want to score at least one try a tournament, and there's a bit of stick, but it goes both ways, and for everything, tackling, anything.
Yeah.
The boys are pretty ruthless when it comes down to it. I think that comes from back in the day when, if everyone's got to pull their own load and do their own work, and if you screw up, you're going to hear about it. I think kids these days, sometimes they don't deal with that type of banter that well anymore. So I think it's slowly getting pushed out of the group, but there's still a few of us old boys there that between ourselves we give each other some pretty hardcore, flack. It does get quite serious sometimes.
Classic. So besides the sporting realm, mate, what else makes up Sammy Dickson? What are you into? What are your hobbies? What are your interests?
I'm a huge sports fan, so a lot of sports in my off time. Obviously, as you know, I played a little bit of golf. I was pretty hard out at golf back in the day, but that took a back seat when sevens kicked in and the old social life Saturday nights kicked on as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything outdoors.
You're a bit of a music man. You love some good,
I love
good
my music.
Kiwi
I love live gigs and all that.
Yeah.
Love a good New Year's festival and all that. But with this job, it's not the easiest thing to do because the old body doesn't bounce back as fast as it used to.
Yeah.
But love my music. Love my Kiwi music. Love my skating and all that. Skiing. Can't do that too much anymore though. Due to injuries and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I studied for 5 years out of high school before I became professional in outdoor education and sustainability and exercise prescription and sport management. So, along those lines of sport rec and all that. So it's all enjoyable, but still not sure what's going to go on once the old money dries up or the body can't handle it anymore.
Is it part of the thing that you're saying about cultivating a whole developing a man and not just like a sports player? Do they talk about that, future after sport?
Absolutely. The New Zealand Rugby Union, they put a lot of emphasis on, it's called PD, personal development, outside of the rugby, and we've got our own manager for that as well.
Cool.
And once a week we have to go to certain things or do certain things outside rugby. And they make sure you're up to something that isn't rugby.
Cool.
So, because there are a lot of young boys getting paid a lot of money right now, at this point in time in rugby careers, and there's a lot. It's been in the media, especially with NFL and that, a lot of multi-million-dollar players within a year of finishing the bankrupt or whatever. So the NZRU is a pretty smart organisation, and they've put a lot of money and time into making sure their players are well educated and what to do with their money, how to invest, and all that.
Nice. Why don't we just mix it up slowly? In the middle here, we've got a bit of a bucket hat with a couple of questions, a couple of topics. Grab something from here, mate. Let's rip into it. Hope it's a goodie. It's probably no.
Where would you dream holiday be?
Where would your dream holiday be, mate? Okay.
I've been on a few holidays, so I'd probably be somewhere I haven't been, but place where I go on holiday. Bit of a random one, but probably Spain or Portugal. I haven't been to those two countries yet, and I've heard it's pretty nice. So I'd like to check that out. Yeah, for me, it's so easy to go for like New Zealand options, but I'm a non-world traveller. I've pretty much been to Raro in Australia, so my dream holiday depends what vibe I'm after. Like if I want to go and sightsee, I'd probably want to go to like New York and friggin' London and all that, because I haven't done that. But if I just want to blat out, I'd just want to go to like an island and friggin' have one of those rooms where you're literally on the ocean. You can just jump off your deck. That would be sick. But yeah, we'll go one more from the hat. Oh, interesting one. Tell us about your morning routine. Do you have any morning routines? Yeah, so my ideal morning routine would be, because I live right on the beach, so I should be getting up and going for a swim every morning, but it's not, of course. I get up at last minute. Get up, have a shower, chuck some music on, walk out in the kitchen, 2 Vogels in the toaster, peanut butter and jam, and then I make a smoothie, 1 banana, frozen berries, a little bit of honey and milk, and then a coffee, and that's me every morning. And then jump in my truck and drive all the way into the mount from Pat. Sometimes get stuck in traffic, which I hate, and then turn up to the changing rooms, and there's all the boys there ready to rip into a big day of training. Yeah.
Nice. Way better than mine. My morning routine, do I have any? Oh yeah, it's get up, but that's been mixing up lately on what I've been eating. I've been into the acai bowls. Have you jamming? Yeah, I've been jamming them lately. Nice. So that was my routine. Whip one of them up, jam a coffee. But moved into this new headquarters, and they just crank out coffees here. So I've been delaying that at home, just coming in, jamming. But coffee for me has been I've been a big advocate for that in the last few years, especially when I'm just cranking through some editing or something. But
I spent a lot of money on coffee over the last few
years. Yeah. Nice. Other quick questions for you before. I know you're a busy man, so I thought I'd pick your brain while you're here. Obviously, you've got your medal, and you're strutting around town with that, catching up with, like you say, you just swung by St Thomas's before coming here, which is good. What are your next goals or aspirations?
I signed a 2-year contract just before the Olympics, and that's about to come up, so obviously re-sign. And as probably some people know, we finished 5th at the Olympics 2 years ago in Rio, which was a huge disappointment. So since then, I've been wanted to head back to the Olympics, which is Tokyo in 2020.
Cool.
And added Olympic gold medal to my cabinet, I guess. So that's a long-term goal. But short-term is we've still got 2 more tournaments of the World Series in 3 weeks, Paris and London, so win them. And then in July we have the World Cup of Rugby Sevens, which is in San Francisco.
Well, good.
And to win that, we're the defending champs, which we won in Moscow in 2013. So hopefully win that.
Nice.
And then come home and, probably relax for a bit, let the body recover, even though I've done that for the last 2 weeks and celebrated quite a bit, probably too much. But enjoying it.
Nice. All the best. If people want to reach out to you or see what you're up to and follow the whole journey, mate, how can they follow what you're up to? Yeah,
so I've only really used Instagram these days. So hit me up on Instagram, Sam Dickson 7, just the 7. So just hit me up on that and come and watch what I'm up to.
Sweet. Thanks for coming by.
Hey, no worries.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother.
Thanks for tuning into the Quality Antics podcast. Each week we sit down with amazing New Zealanders doing cool things and we just chat to them about life and everything that goes on in between. If you'd like to hear more from us or check out what we're up to, it's at Quality Antics on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and on YouTube as well, where we're releasing weekly videos for all of 2018 every Monday. Take care, have a great week, keep having some quality antics.